Hello and welcome to CAD Monkey Videos. In this video we're going to be discussing wipeouts, and in particular I wanted to go over using a wipeout for a shape that has curves. Now wipeouts were created to only go along line segments, and so curves, circles, anything of that sort, it's not supposed to work. There is a workaround though that I would like to show you. So in this sheet we have a rectangle with a hatch already. And I want to show you a polyline, PL enter, with a curve on it. So click a couple of points, A enter, and here we can close it with CL enter, or we can go straight to the end point. I will CL enter it that way, and there you go, we have a closed polyline. Now here, if we select it and type in wipeout, hit enter again for polyline, you can see the error. The polyline must be closed and made up of only line segments. So my workaround includes the Osnap menu. So the Osnap menu on my screen capture does not show, but it involves this menu right here. So these are the ones that I typically select. I have endpoint, midpoint, center, extension, and perpendicular. Everyone has different preferences. These are just the ones that work for me when I'm drafting. And this is the one nearest that I enable for following curves with the wipeout command. So if we go back here, I will begin the wipeout command again, and this time you can see I have the nearest selected for this example. I'm going to endpoint, endpoint, following each endpoint, and here you can see that the nearest actually follows the curve, and you can do as many or as little points as you feel comfortable with, but the end result is that it will generate a polygon version of this arc or circle or whatever curved edge that you're dealing with. So keep clicking, go all the way around, and that should be good enough for this example. So you can see how it's displaying. It's displaying a little off. If we go back into Wipeout and hit Wipeout, enter, make sure you spell it right if you're going to use it. There's another option called frames. You can do F enter and it'll go to that. Currently it's set to off, which is what you're looking at. It's fighting between the polygon behind it, or the polyline, same thing, polyline behind it, and it's not displaying correctly. If we switch it to on, there you go. So we have the original closed shape behind it and you have the wipeout above it. So if we grab this and move it, M enter, and bring it over here, you can see that it's currently over it. It's masking the hatch, and it's clearly above, in front of it. Now if we go back to the wipeout command, we can turn go back to wipeout. We can turn frames off, and the double line will look a lot clearer if we switch it back to off. It's still there, but now it's just displaying the actual mask versus the shape. So if we select it, this is because it's in front, we're selecting the wipeout. If we do draw order, DR enter, and by default you can click back, so we can hit back again, it's now behind it. You have the polygon in the front. Only problem is so is everything else. So if we select these two, the rectangle and the hatch, we can do draw order again, DR enter, send it to back, and there you go. So the frame of the wipeout is turned off. The polygon is still there, and now both of them are in front of the initial rectangle and hatch. And so there's also another example that I've seen on YouTube that I wanted to go over, which is great for circles, and it involves the polygon command. So these are the two sub options. You have an inscribed circle, a circumscribed circle. This is basically a representation of what it means. Inscribed, the circle will be outside of the polygon, and circumscribed is the opposite. And so we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll type in polygon, number of sides. Here is where it's up to you. We can go 35 and you can see an example of it. So there's the center, there's the two choices, inscribed or circumscribed. I'm just going to go ahead with the I. It doesn't really matter for this example. So that's a good size. And if we zoom in, you can actually see that it's line segments. It's all line segments. This is a polygon. This is not a circle, but it's very close, and it can be even closer depending on how many sides you choose. So we can go to the wipeout command and select polyline, and erase polyline, we'll go with yes. And so now you can see that the frame is still turned off. It applies to all of the wipeouts that you have in the drawing. And so you can see this is what it looks like. It's still masking. And if you want to see it with the original shape, the polygon, we can Control Z. And this is currently back to just the polyline. So we'll go back to Wipeout, Polyline, enter, erase polyline, no, and it's still off. The frames is still off, so we can do DR, enter for draw order, send it to the back, and actually if we select both of them and now draw order, send to the front, F, enter, that will prevent any issues when we drag it over to the hatch to show the masking, because I had sent it all the way to the back. We would have had the same issue again where I had to select these two and send it to the very back. And so those are the two examples that I've seen work fairly well. This is great for circles, but the object snap menu and the nearest feature, actually I prefer on more complex shapes, so you don't have to involve trimming and then joining everything back together. And so if I had the choice, I would prefer this one. There's also another option which does not include the wipeout but does a similar job. So if we make a circle, we can do a hatch. This menu you won't be able to see. My screen capture doesn't get some of these menus. That's why I had that other menu kind of just placed into the drawing. So in this case I'm doing a solid hatch, and if I were to drag it over, you can see in model space, we'll type on or click on the layout one. So when you have white as a color, it prints out as black, and that is why it technically doesn't work. However, if you click it and you go down to select color, on the second menu there's a gray bar, and when you pick that color, I'm going to show you in a minute, it displays correctly. So when we go back, I can show you the menu on here. When you select color, this comes up. And this is the second tab, true color, and this bar was up what I was referring to. This color up top, 255, 255, 255, will display as white. It'll display as true white and act just like a wipeout. So this is another option that you have, and like anything else, drawing order is very critical. If this comes in front, so I just did draw order and F for front, it should get rid of the trace. Yeah, see? So similar to the frames interfering with the polygons, the hatch does the same thing. So you need to be careful with how that's being ordered. So here, am I in it? I can't tell if I'm in it. GR, enter. It is not working for me in this view. Let me go back. There we go. So GR, enter, send it to back. And we'll go ahead and DR enter this, send everything to back just to make sure it displays correctly. So there we go, we're back to normal. And I believe those are the three examples that I had. So wipeouts, not too many features going along with that. You have the option of creating your own polygon or selecting a polygon. And then of course, with the nearest command, you can include curves. And then there's also the hatch method, which I hope you guys find useful. That's about it. If there's any comments or suggestions, if I'm going too fast or if I'm going too slow, please let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.